The UFC is tomorrow night with UFC Fight Night. Renato MonCano versus Chris Duncan. Entertaining lightweight matchup. Renato's ranked top 10. Chris Duncan's outside, but Chris Duncan's been on an absolute tear through the lightweight division. Got some good wins in that. Good record, up-and-coming guy. Renato's kind of the veteran here, trying to keep his ranking. I mean, he'll still be ranked if he loses, but, he's trying to keep climbing the rankings. But, we're going to talk it. We're going to talk about one guy, talk about the other. Let's get straight into this. So, with Chris Duncan, Chris Duncan from Scotland, absolute beast. He's had excellent fights in the UFC, like entertaining ones. He's an absolute joy to watch. He's entertaining. When Chris Duncan's on the card, it's going to be a fun fight. But 15-2 with 7 knockouts, with 4 submissions and 6 round finishes. His decent wins: Terrence McKinney last time out, submission. Rebekic, unanimous decisions. I'd probably say they're his 2 biggest wins. And that. He's lost once inside the UFC. I don't know the guy's name, but, he is definitely a force of nature. He's come through. He's well-rounded. His wrestling's really good. He's tough as nails. He doesn't mind taking a beating. He'll take one to get one type of fighter. I think Chris Duncan's great. I'd like to see him get into the top 15. I think he definitely deserves to be in the top 15. There's other guys in there when you question it, you're like, do you really deserve to be there? And Chris Duncan isn't. And that, I think the keys for victory for Chris Duncan, make it a slugfest. That's all I'm going to say. Because Chris Duncan is a very good wrestler and he's a very good brawler. But I don't think he should be taking Renato down. They are also former training partners here. This is one thing we have to think about. If these guys know each other very well, but now they're fighting against each other where they can let it all go. So I would believe that Chris Duncan would know, let's not go to the ground with Renato, because Renato is such a good jiu-jitsu guy. So I think definitely turn it into a slugfest. Renato's been TKO'd, submitted before, especially TKO'd and KO'd and whatnot. And that he is droppable. We've seen people drop him before and that. So that's my keys for Chris Duncan, to definitely go for a slugfest. Try to knock him out and that. Not one of my most calculated, descriptions of a guy, but Chris Duncan, he's had a lot of fights inside the UFC, but not at the highest level, while Renato I can go off. So let's speak about Renato MonCano now. Ranked number 10 at lightweight, 20 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw or whatnot. 2 knockouts, not bad. No, it's not the greatest, to be fair. I will be honest, with 2 knockouts compared to Chris Duncan's 7. But this is where it gets good. 10 submissions with 4 first-round finishes. Renato MonCano has got a lot of good wins outside the top 15, but I would say his really good wins. Benoit Saint Denis, and now he absolutely destroyed Benoit Saint Denis, like demolished him. Benoit Saint Denis is now ranked in the top 5, or he's ranked number 6. So Renato can definitely become a top 5 guy. He also beat Jalen Turner, where Turner was ranked highly, like in that top 13 to 10 position. That was by KO. But his losses, he has got quite a few. Obviously, we also have to remember, quite a lot of Renato MonCano's losses were at featherweight. He was at featherweight, then jumped up to lightweight. He lost to Jose Aldo, no shame in that. He's one of the greatest of all time. Korean Zombie, once again, a top 5 guy for majority of his career. And then at lightweight, Rafael dos Santos. That's a meh win. Realistically, you should be beating like a veteran who's also at the end of his career. But at the same time, RDR always somehow brings it back. He'll get a good 2 wins, then lose a big one, then another 2 little wins. Rafael Fiziev was close to the top 5 at one point. Beneil Dariush last time out. Beneil Dariush, once again, was another guy who was in the top 5. And then the biggest, I would say, like, the loss, what's like, you know what, that's not really that bad. Islam Makhachev, who's the current pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, also the current welterweight champion, double champ status. There's no shame in losing to Islam, and as well, that was on short notice. I remember it was supposed to be Arman Sarukian, and then I think the same week Renato stepped in because Sarukian got injured. But my key to victories for Renato, I think take it to the ground. I think he definitely has a better ground game than Chris Duncan. I would probably say Duncan's probably a better wrestler, but jiu-jitsu-wise and the threat level definitely goes to Renato MonCano. MonCano is just that good in that aspect, with half of his wins coming by submission. He's good on the floor. And Renato's tough. Renato won't give up on himself. I mean, the Rafael dos Santos fight, I remember watching, I was just like, oh, he's just getting battered pillar to post. And that was on short notice as well, but he never gave up on himself. He's also, if he gets the right positions, like if he gets your back, you are screwed in that aspect. He's kind of like a Charles Oliveira where that is not a spot you want to be in. And Renato is that good on the back. I mean, what he did to Benoit Saint Denis was an absolute demolition. Probably one of the best performances in the past maybe like year or two of ranked guys, because Benoit Saint Denis did not have an answer at all. And now look what he's gone on. He's gone on an absolute tear at the minute, knocking out Beneil Dariush, who obviously Dariush beat Renato. He's on an absolute tear at the minute. He's going to be fighting a top 5 guy soon. Benoit Saint Denis will probably be challenging for a title soon, not sooner than later, maybe in the next year or so. But he's climbing the rankings. So the Jalen Turner one as well, that won't go in his way. To be fair, Jalen Turner was a bit of I don't want to say an idiot, because I don't want to insult him in that way, but he was silly in the fact of he dropped Renato MonCano and didn't go for the finish. He thought it was going to be called off at 300 of walk-off KO. No, Renato got straight back up and absolutely demolished him. So, yeah, Renato's good. I think the ground game in the jiu-jitsu is the department where to win. So that's my prediction. Well, my keys for victory for him. Now, predictions. Where do I think this is going to go? I think we are going to get a Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan TKO in round 2. But by any means, I'm not surprised if Renato does. Renato is a weird one for me because sometimes I think he's going to get absolutely battered and he doesn't. He batters them or he win the fight. There's been many times I've thought that about him. And then Chris Duncan, we've only seen him winning in impressive ways. So I do think Chris Duncan will probably get a stoppage here. If we see Chris Duncan win, it will be by TKO or KO. If we see Renato win, it will be by submission. That's my thoughts, but I'm going with round 2, TKO, Chris Duncan. But if you guys like this video, make sure to drop a subscribe. We're at 94 now. We're 6 away from 100. It'd be much appreciated. And if you like boxing content as well, we also cover boxing. There's my prediction video for Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder. On my channel, give that a watch because the fight's tomorrow, and I'm also going to the event, so you might see some clips here and there on the shorts part. But like, comment, subscribe, all that business, and I will catch you guys in a bit.